Continuing from the previous chapter, Xiao Yan and Lin Yan were walking toward the city when a majestic city wall, that carried a foreboding aura, appeared in front of them. Humans were coming and going under the towering city gate. The entire place was filled with a noisy atmosphere. The two of them smoothly entered the city. They looked at the spacious road and at the endless shops and buildings on both sides of the road. The black mass of human heads and the noise they created on the street transformed into a large sound wave that spread apart, charging to the clouds. Tianhuang City is really exuberant. It can likely even be compared with the few most prosperous cities within the Black Corner region. Xiao Yan involuntarily clicked his tongue and praised as he looked over the mighty city and the human traffic. This is the middle region of the Central Plains, the entire continent's central area. Although the Black Corner region is also quite strong, how could it compare with this place? Lin Yan laughed. He immediately identified their route and led Xiao Yan to the location of the Lu clan's home. He had once stayed in this place for a period of time. Hence, he was quite familiar with Tianhuang City. Xiao Yan followed behind Lin Yan. They walked down a couple of long roads and took a couple of turns before an extremely spacious manor appeared in front of their eyes. This manor was extremely large. Moreover, there were a couple of guards with weapons in their hands currently outside of the manor. Their alert gazes swept all around them. Xiao Yan was startled when he saw the tight defenses of the manor. He said with surprise, "Is there a need for so many guards in broad daylight?" Lin Yan was also stunned. A moment later, he frowned and softly said, "There seems to be something wrong. The Lu clan did not post so many guards in the past." Wait for a moment. Once Lin Yan said this, his eyes wandered before he stopped a man who was hastily walking by. He cupped his hands together and smiled as he asked, "Friend, may I know what has happened in this Tianhuang city? Why is the Lu clan acting like this?" The person whom Lin Yan had stopped glanced at him doubtfully before asking, "Have you come from somewhere else?" Currently, the Lu clan and the Cheng clan are fighting for the management rights of the Wormhole. The two clans have led quite a number of people to the open area in the middle of the city. Everyone in the city has run over to watch the show. Lin Yan once again knit his brows when he heard this. He cupped his hands to the person in front of him before turning around and walking to Xiao Yan's side. In a soft voice, he whispered, "Sorry, I remember that it should be the Lu clan's turn to own the management rights of the Wormhole this year. Why has a fight occurred?" Xiao Yan had also heard what that person had said earlier. He immediately grinned and said, "Won't we know if we head to the middle of the city and take a look?" Lin Yan nodded. He immediately laughed. "Looks like Lu Qing isn't having an easy time being clan head. Follow me, such a fight is uncommon." After saying this, Lin Yan turned around and led the way. He swiftly walked to the middle of the city. Xiao Yan also smiled and followed close behind. In the middle of Tianhuang City was an extremely spacious area made of green rock. A stone platform was located in the center of the open ground. On it was an enormous dark black wormhole that was slowly rotating. A shocking spatial ripple was spreading from it. Currently, the area around the open ground was occupied by a dense sea of people. The noise from it was like a demon's voice, causing one's eardrum to feel some pain. A countless number of curious eyes were watching the middle of the open ground. There were two groups of people facing off against each other in that spot. "Chen Yao, the wormhole should be managed by my Lu clan this year. What do you mean by your actions today?" The one leading the group on the left side was a well-built man. He was frowning and there was an aura of power even without anger. This kind of face was somewhat familiar. If one were to look carefully, one would realize that that person could not be anyone other than Lu Qing. The current Lu Qing no longer possessed the spirit he had back then. Replacing that spirit was a kind of calmness. After all, the Lu clan needed a qualified clan head, not a young and impulsive boy. There were two white-haired old men behind Lu Qing. These two people were standing randomly, but they possessed a majestic aura that quietly rippled. No one dared to underestimate them as a result. Additionally, there was a voluminous, beautiful figure standing by the side. This lady was wearing red clothes. Her face was peach blossom-like and was filled with an allure. Any man who saw her would feel attracted. This face was also familiar. She possessed an alluring name, Lu Fei. Back then, she had a small conflict with Xiao Yan in the inner academy. However, after a few years, the current Lu Fei appeared even more alluring. She was just like matured peach that caused the eyes of quite a number of men to involuntarily drift toward her. He, Lu Qing, if we were to talk about it, you are one generation younger than me. You should not be speaking in such a disrespectful manner to a senior. There was a similar large group of people with fierce looks opposite Lu Qing's group. Their leader was a middle-aged man. His eyes glanced at Lu Qing in a sinister manner before he strangely laughed. Lu Qing's face revealed a cold smile when he heard this. He was just about to say something when an elderly voice sounded in the open ground. This is the newest order from my burning flame valley. A countless number of gazes instantly turned when they heard this voice. All they saw was a crimson-robed, old man standing with his hands behind him. There were quite a number of red-colored speckles on his old face. Elder Kai Huo from the burning flame valley? The open ground emitted numerous exclamations when the people saw this old man. The expressions of Lu Qing and the two old men behind him slightly changed. Immediately, they cupped their hands and said in a courteous manner, "It is actually Elder Kai Huo. May I know what is the reason of this new order? According to the rules of the past, now is not the time for the handing over of the wormhole management rights. The valley chief has given the order. He requires some high-tier alchemists to head to the burning flame valley to help his elderly self refine a medicinal pill. However, he has yet to find any suitable person until now. Hence, he has issued this order. Any clan who can find a high-tier alchemist will obtain the management rights of the wormhole. This will be effective for 3 years. The old man who was called Elder Kai Huo spoke in a faint voice. The Cheng clan has found a Tier 6 alchemist who has been acknowledged by the Pill Tower. If your Lu clan can also find one and invite him to follow me to the burning flame valley, this wormhole will be handed to you. Moreover, the rights will be extended from 1 year to 3 years. Elder Kai Huo pointed in the direction of the Cheng clan. There was an old man in a purple-colored alchemist robe, who was standing with his hands behind him. A Tier 6 alchemist? Lu Qing's expression changed when he heard this. Their Lu clan did indeed also possess an alchemist. However, the best was only a Tier 5 alchemist. They had never owned a Tier 6 alchemist. After all, an alchemist at that tier would be able to obtain good treatment from a faction like the Burning Flame Valley. Who would come to their clan, which was neither large nor small? Elder Kai Huo, this matter has occurred too suddenly. Can you give our Lu clan a couple of days? We will definitely go all out to find a Tier 6 alchemist. Lu Qing's expression changed rapidly before he spoke in this manner. Elder Kai Huo shook his head. His tone was his usual monotonous one. This is an order personally given by the Valley Chief. Who dares to delay? Forget about your Lu clan, even the old me does not have that ability. If your Lu clan fails to invite a Tier 6 alchemist today, you will hand the management rights of the wormhole to the Cheng clan. Lu Qing's expression was quite ugly when he heard Elder Kai Huo not giving them the slightest amount of face. He clenched his hand. Where would he go and find a Tier 6 alchemist within a day? Did they really think that a Tier 6 alchemist was as common as cabbage? An alchemist at such a tier was a strength that was near the top even within the Pill Tower. This old fellow, who will not die, has definitely been bribed by the Cheng clan. Lu Fei grit her silver teeth behind Lu Qing as she spoke with great displeasure. Shut up! Lu Qing's expression sank. When she heard him, Lu Fei could only stomp her feet while feeling wronged. She ceased speaking after that. What should we do, elders? Lu Qing turned his head, looked at the two old men behind him, and sighed. The two old men could only bitterly laugh when they heard this. They said, "We have also vaguely heard information about the Burning Flame Valley searching for a high-tier alchemist. However, we did not pay much attention to it. Unexpectedly, Fei Er is likely right. Someone must have informed the Cheng clan beforehand. I have also heard of this Tier 6 alchemist. It is rumored that he is a high-rank alchemist who advanced to the Tier 6 level a long time ago. It is likely very difficult to find someone who is of a higher tier within Tianhuang City." Lu Qing's heart sank when he heard the two of them speak in such a manner. His fist was clenched tightly until it emitted a cracking sound. The wormhole was too important to the Lu clan. This was an extremely large source of income for them. Only with this income as a foundation would their Lu clan be able to hire even more capable people to expand their faction. However, if it were to be snatched by the Cheng clan, their development rate would end up slowing if not stopping. KK, nephew Lu, you should not continue to have a bee in your bonnet. Just calmly hand over the management rights of the wormhole. If I am happy in the future, I might distribute some small profits for the Lu clan to enjoy. The middle-aged man called Cheng Yao involuntarily laughed in a strange manner when he saw Lu Qing's change in expression. Lu Qing's face had turned much greener when he heard this quiet ridicule from the other party. However, he was currently the head of the Lu clan. Every single action of his needed to take in the consideration of the entire clan. He immediately suppressed the fury in his heart and clenched his teeth with great unwillingness. After which, he spoke in a deep, dark voice, "Cheng Yao, you can consider yourself ruthless. Let's go." After saying this, Lu Qing could only wave his hand with a green face before turning around to leave. He, Lu Qing, this is unlike you. Are you going to just give up in this manner? A figure suddenly rushed over from outside of the open ground and laughed at Lu Qing when he had just turned his body. Lin Yan? Lu Qing was startled when he saw the person who had arrived. He immediately sighed as he said with a bitter smile, "Forget it. Let's leave. You are not a Tier 6 alchemist and cannot help me." Hearing this, Lin Yan chuckled in a strange manner. He said, "I might not be able to help you, but someone can help you." After saying these words, he turned his head and shouted to the sky, "How long do you intend to stay up there?" Lu Qing, Lu Fei, and the others were startled when they saw Lin Yan's actions. They immediately raised their heads, only to see a young man walking through the air, heading over. Immediately, the young man landed gently on the ground. Walking through the air, an elite Dozong. The hearts of Lu Qing's group felt a chill upon seeing this scene. He was just about to cup his hands and say some courteous words when a familiar laugh, that he could not forget, suddenly sounded. This laughter caused his body to abruptly stiffen. "Lu Qing, it has been a few years since we have last met. Are you well?"